Linda Kozlowski was a struggling actress when she snagged a role alongside Paul Hogan in Crocodile Dundee. But since then, she's pulled a bit of a vanishing act. So what happened?
Hollywood celebrated Linda Kozlowski as an overnight sensation. But some believe her greatest story began after she disappeared from the spotlight. Decades after Crocodile Dundee made her unforgettable, fans are stunned by how completely her life changed, while others argue she simply chose freedom over fame. Behind the headlines lies a journey filled with difficult choices, unexpected sacrifices, and quiet reinvention that few truly understand. So, what really happened to Linda Kozlowski? And why is everyone talking about her again today after all these years? The star who vanished suddenly. For millions of movie fans, Linda Kozlowski seemed destined to remain one of Hollywood's brightest stars. After captivating audiences as Sue Charlton in Crocodile Dundee, her face became instantly recognizable worldwide. The film turned into a cultural phenomenon, and her natural charm convinced many viewers they were witnessing the arrival of Hollywood's next leading actress. Everything appeared perfectly aligned for a career filled with blockbuster films, major awards, and decades of success. Yet something unexpected happened. Almost as quickly as she rose to international fame, she began disappearing from the spotlight, leaving fans wondering why someone with so much promise would suddenly step away. At first, few people questioned her absence. Audiences assumed she was carefully choosing better roles or preparing for another major production. After all, actors often disappear briefly between successful projects before returning with something even bigger. Linda's popularity made that expectation seem completely reasonable. However, as the years passed, those anticipated appearances never truly arrived. New stars filled magazine covers, different actresses became household names, and Hollywood continued moving forward without one of its most memorable faces from the 1980s. Gradually, curiosity replaced confidence, and people started asking what had changed behind the scenes. The mystery became even more striking because there had been no public scandal, dramatic collapse, or sensational controversy to explain such a dramatic shift. Unlike many celebrities whose careers ended amid endless headlines, Linda simply seemed to fade away. That quiet disappearance only fueled greater speculation. Some believed Hollywood had overlooked her, despite her obvious talent. Others wondered whether she had grown tired of the relentless attention that accompanied worldwide fame. Without clear answers, every theory gained momentum, creating an enduring mystery that continued long after her biggest success. Looking back, her sudden absence appears even more surprising because success usually opens every possible door. Many performers spend entire careers hoping for a single breakthrough like Crocodile Dundee. Linda achieved exactly that. Yet her journey unfolded in a direction few expected. Instead of becoming a permanent fixture on red carpets and blockbuster premieres, she gradually became someone audiences remembered more through nostalgia than new performances. That unexpected contrast transformed her story into something larger than a simple Hollywood career. Years later, questions surrounding her disappearance remain surprisingly powerful because they touch on something deeper than celebrity gossip. They challenge common assumptions about fame, ambition, and personal fulfillment. The real mystery may never have been why Linda Kozlowski left the spotlight, but whether walking away revealed a truth about Hollywood that few stars are ever willing to confront openly. If one role opened every door, why did it quietly close the rest? Who decided Linda could never become anyone else? And what hidden struggles unfolded behind Hollywood's brightest spotlight? Stay tuned. Fame became her greatest challenge. When Linda Kozlowski accepted the role of Sue Charlton in Crocodile Dundee, It looked like the opportunity every aspiring actress dreams about. She had trained seriously, worked patiently, and waited for the chance to prove herself on a global stage. Few could have predicted that this single casting decision would completely transform her life. Released in 1986, Crocodile Dundee became an international sensation, earning hundreds of millions of dollars and reaching audiences far beyond Australia and the United States. Overnight, Linda was no longer an emerging performer. She had become one of the most recognizable faces in cinema. To moviegoers, everything appeared perfect. Her chemistry with Paul Hogan felt effortless. Her performance attracted widespread praise, and the success of the film suggested that countless exciting opportunities would soon follow. Industry observers expected producers to compete for her next project, believing she would quickly establish herself among Hollywood's leading actresses. From the outside, the future seemed almost guaranteed. Yet the remarkable success carried an unexpected consequence that gradually became impossible to ignore. Instead of opening new creative paths, the film began defining Linda almost completely. Audiences everywhere identified her with Sue Charlton, and Hollywood increasingly viewed her through exactly the same lens. Rather than receiving diverse characters that challenged her abilities, she was repeatedly offered roles that closely resembled the adventurous, attractive journalist who had made her famous. The industry appeared more interested in recreating past success than allowing her to demonstrate the full range of her talent. As those similar offers continued arriving, frustration quietly grew beneath the public celebration. Linda had studied acting to explore different personalities and stories, not to spend years repeating one familiar image. While fans remembered the character with affection, she faced the difficult reality that the same performance everyone admired was slowly limiting her future. The very role that introduced her to millions also became the standard against which every new opportunity was measured. Some observers later wondered whether Hollywood had become too comfortable seeing Linda in only one way. Others believed the enormous popularity of Crocodile Dundee simply cast such a large shadow that escaping it became extraordinarily difficult for anyone connected to the film. Whatever the explanation, the result remained strikingly similar. Her growing reputation as Sue Charlton overshadowed the actress behind the character. Looking back, this period marked far more than the peak of Linda Kozlowski's fame. It revealed how extraordinary success can sometimes create invisible barriers instead of unlimited possibilities. The breakthrough that appeared to launch an endless career was quietly becoming the challenge that would shape every important decision she faced afterward. What happens when Hollywood success collides with a fragile marriage? Was fame quietly stealing everything she cherished? Or was another unseen force pulling the strings? Keep watching. Love under Hollywood's brightest spotlight. As Linda Kozlowski's professional future grew increasingly uncertain, another important chapter of her life was unfolding away from the cameras. During the making of Crocodile Dundee, she developed a close relationship with her co-star, Paul Hogan. Their on-screen chemistry had already captured audiences around the world, but behind the scenes, a genuine connection was beginning to grow. Over time, that relationship became one of the most talked-about Hollywood romances of its era, giving fans another reason to follow Linda's life with great interest. The couple eventually married in 1990 and later welcomed their son, Chance. From the outside, their life appeared to reflect the happy ending that many movie lovers had imagined after seeing them together on screen. They were successful, widely recognized, and connected by the film that had changed both of their lives forever. To many observers, it seemed they had achieved the perfect balance between career, family, and international fame. Yet public appearances rarely reveal the full story. and private realities often remain hidden behind carefully captured photographs. Paul Hogan was already an internationally celebrated entertainer whose larger-than-life personality naturally attracted enormous attention. His popularity often became the center of media coverage wherever the couple appeared. Although Linda remained admired by audiences, living beside such an established celebrity brought its own quiet challenges. At the same time, her own acting career was no longer advancing in the way many had predicted. As professional opportunities became more limited, the contrast between their careers became increasingly noticeable, even if neither openly discussed it in public. Years passed as they worked to build a family life together, but the pressures surrounding fame never disappeared completely. Constant public attention, demanding careers, and changing personal priorities created circumstances that few people outside their world could fully understand. Eventually, after more than 2 decades together, the marriage reached a breaking point. The couple separated in 2013, and their divorce was finalized in 2014. While reports often focused on financial matters surrounding the settlement, money could never explain the emotional weight of ending such a significant chapter. Their separation marked far more than the conclusion of a marriage. It represented another major turning point in Linda Kozlowski's life, arriving after years of career disappointments and growing distance from Hollywood itself. Some viewed the divorce as further evidence that fame carries hidden costs beyond public admiration. Others believed it simply reflected the natural challenges many long marriages eventually face. Whatever the interpretation, one reality became impossible to ignore. The life that once appeared defined by extraordinary success was continuing to change in unexpected ways, preparing Linda for a future that looked nothing like the one audiences had imagined decades earlier. Why would someone willingly abandon everything others spend a lifetime chasing? What hidden realization changed Linda forever? Was her quiet exit actually the beginning of an even more remarkable journey? Stay with us. Choosing peace over lasting applause. After years of living under Hollywood's intense spotlight, Linda Kozlowski reached a decision that surprised many people watching from the outside. Instead of fighting for another major comeback or chasing the kind of fame that had once seemed guaranteed, she quietly stepped away from the industry that had made her famous. There was no dramatic farewell, public campaign, or desperate attempt to remain in the headlines. Her departure unfolded gradually, almost silently, leaving many longtime fans wondering why someone who had achieved so much would willingly leave it all behind. For many actors, a successful career becomes something they struggle to protect at any cost. As opportunities become less frequent, they often search for new ways to remain visible through interviews, reality television, public appearances, or familiar roles that remind audiences of earlier successes. Linda chose a completely different direction. Rather than competing for attention, she embraced a life that offered privacy instead of constant recognition. It was an unusual path in an industry where remaining relevant often feels just as important as becoming famous in the first place. Following the end of her marriage to Paul Hogan, she began building a quieter future away from Hollywood's demanding expectations. She spent time in Massachusetts, where she could enjoy a slower pace of life, far removed from movie premieres and entertainment headlines. She also became involved in business, helping establish a travel venture that reflected her growing interest in meaningful experiences rather than celebrity status. The change represented more than a career adjustment. It suggested a complete shift in priorities. Some observers interpreted her decision as evidence that Hollywood had failed to recognize her full potential after Crocodile Dundee. Others believed she had simply grown tired of an industry that repeatedly measured actresses by youth, appearance, and commercial value instead of personal fulfillment. Neither explanation can fully capture her private motivations, yet both reflect the questions that continued following her long after she disappeared from movie screens. What remains clear is that she never appeared eager to reclaim the spotlight she had deliberately left behind. As the years passed, her absence became less about missed opportunities and more about personal choice. She no longer seemed interested in proving herself to an industry that had once defined her identity. Instead, she appeared determined to create a life based on freedom, privacy, and authenticity. That quiet transformation challenged the common belief that every successful performer secretly longs for another moment of fame. Looking back, Linda Kozlowski's departure from Hollywood no longer appears to be the ending of an acting career alone. It marked the beginning of a very different journey, one that suggested lasting happiness might exist far beyond cameras, applause, and public admiration, even if many people struggled to understand that choice at the time. What really pushed her to walk away when she was still in the spotlight? Was it disillusionment, freedom, or something far more personal that few ever saw coming? And how did that single decision quietly redefine the rest of her life in ways no one expected? Yet something even more surprising was quietly unfolding. What unexpected decision changed Linda forever? Who stood beside her when fame disappeared? And why did one bold move leave everyone questioning everything they believed about her remarkable journey? Stay glued. Finding freedom beyond Hollywood's shadows. By the time Linda Kozlowski had stepped away from Hollywood, her life was already moving in a direction very different from the one audiences had imagined years earlier. The glamorous premieres, constant publicity, and endless speculation had largely disappeared, replaced by a quieter existence far from the entertainment industry. For many fans, her absence remained difficult to understand, but for Linda, the distance from celebrity seemed to offer something that success alone never had. It created space to rebuild a life according to her own values, instead of the expectations placed upon her by others. That new chapter was not without pain. One of the deepest personal blows came with the unexpected death of her brother, someone described as one of the people closest to her. The loss carried profound emotional weight and became another turning point during an already transformative period of her life. Rather than returning to the spotlight as a distraction, she withdrew even further from public attention. Interviews became increasingly rare. Public appearances almost disappeared, and curiosity surrounding her whereabouts only continued to grow. To some observers, that silence appeared mysterious. In an age when many former celebrities regularly shared their lives through television, magazines, or social media, Linda chose the opposite approach. She seemed determined to protect her privacy instead of satisfying public curiosity. While some questioned whether she might eventually return to acting, the passing years suggested that Hollywood was no longer the center of her ambitions. Her focus had shifted toward living peacefully, instead of remaining constantly visible. Away from movie sets and cameras, she gradually built a different kind of fulfillment. Business interests and a quieter lifestyle replaced auditions, promotional tours, and red carpets. More importantly, she appeared comfortable defining success in ways that had little to do with fame or public recognition. The actress who had once stood at the center of one of the world's biggest films now seemed more interested in authenticity than applause. That quiet transformation challenged the common belief that leaving celebrity inevitably leads to regret. Some believed her decision reflected disappointment with an industry that had never fully appreciated her range as an actress. Others saw it as evidence that personal happiness sometimes requires walking away from extraordinary opportunities. Neither conclusion can completely explain her private thoughts, yet both highlight the unusual path she ultimately chose. Instead of chasing the life many expected her to reclaim, she embraced one that offered stability, independence, and peace. These years revealed that Linda Kozlowski was no longer simply escaping Hollywood. She was redefining what a meaningful life could become, preparing for a future where the greatest surprise would not be where she disappeared, but who she had quietly become after leaving it all behind. It is a shift defined by silence, resilience, and a deliberate step away from fame's noise, choosing personal peace over public attention, and embracing a life shaped by intention rather than expectation, where simplicity became the ultimate statement, and her absence from screens spoke louder than any role she ever played on screen. If Linda's transformation surprised everyone, what hidden choice reshaped her entire life? Why do countless fans admire her more now than ever before? And what unexpected path did she embrace after leaving Hollywood behind? Let's find out. Her greatest transformation finally revealed. Today, Linda Kozlowski looks very different from the glamorous actress millions remember from Crocodile Dundee. But the most remarkable change has little to do with age alone. After decades away from Hollywood, recent public sightings have reminded longtime fans just how much time has passed. Her once dark hair has naturally turned silver, and the youthful appearance that defined one of the biggest films of the 1980s has given way to the unmistakable signs of a life fully lived. For some people, the transformation came as a surprise. For others, it represented something far more meaningful than simple physical change. Unlike many former stars who continue chasing youth through endless cosmetic procedures, Linda has embraced aging with striking honesty. Her appearance reflects the passing years instead of attempting to hide them. Fine lines and changing features tell the story of experience rather than decline. In an entertainment industry often criticized for demanding impossible standards from women, her decision stands in quiet contrast to expectations that have shaped Hollywood for generations. She appears comfortable, allowing time to leave its mark without apology. That choice has influenced how many people now view her legacy. Younger audiences discovering her photographs today sometimes struggle to recognize the actress who once shared the screen with Paul Hogan. Meanwhile, those who grew up watching Crocodile Dundee often respond differently. Rather than expressing disappointment, many admire the confidence she projects by refusing to become trapped in an endless pursuit of looking younger. Her transformation has become a reminder that identity does not have to depend on preserving the image that first brought fame. Over the years, Linda has also spoken about growing older with acceptance instead of fear. She has made it clear that she no longer feels pressured to resemble the woman audiences first met decades ago. That perspective reflects the philosophy she gradually developed after leaving Hollywood behind. Instead of measuring success through appearance, popularity, or constant public attention, she chose to value peace, authenticity, and personal contentment. It is a quiet message, yet one that carries unusual weight in an industry where image often overshadows character. Some observers still wonder whether she ever regrets stepping away from acting at the height of her career. Others believe her life today provides the answer without requiring many words. The calm she appears to have found suggests that leaving Hollywood may have given her something greater than another successful film ever could. Looking at Linda Kozlowski today, the real surprise is not that she has grown older. It is that she seems genuinely comfortable with the woman she has become, completing a journey defined not by fame, but by freedom, dignity, and lasting fulfillment. So, what do you think? Do you believe Linda Kozlowski made the right choice by walking away from Hollywood fame for a peaceful life? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.